This is it, everyone. Batmay's own personal Judgment Day. Appropriate that the last episode produced of Batman the Animated Series / The New Batman Adventures is indeed called Judgment Day. Does the series go out on a high note? Does it finish as strong as it started? There's only one way to find out. So for the final time covering this show, let's dive in. A new vigilante named the Judge has been attacking criminals around Gotham lately. After taking out Penguin, Killer Croc, and the Riddler, Two-Face is the next logical target. We see that the Judge has been getting under-the-table information on the rogue's whereabouts from Gotham City Councilman J. Carroll Corcoran. Corcoran is up for re-election and is hoping the Judge can help him clean up the streets. By publicly endorsing the vigilante, Corcoran has already shot up in the polls. Batman finds Two-Face just before a death trap is sprung by the Judge. The Dark Knight saves their hides, but Dent gets away and abducts Councilman Corcoran. As this is happening, the Caped Crusader is analyzing the oversized gavel the Judge used to strike Killer Croc with. A clue on the head eventually reveals a list of names. One of them may just be behind the wig and robe. Rich Fogel and Alan Burnett collaborated on the script here, with Kurt Gaeta back directing. Interestingly, this was Burnett's only writing credit in all of TNBA, although I'm sure he was busy splitting time producing multiple DCAU series at that point. He did co-write the story for the Mystery of the Batwoman movie a few years later. Rich Fogel ended his run with another solid script and, as mentioned in other reviews, would go on to write more for the DCAU. Kurt Gaeta was the same way on the directing end. The Judge character and his violent mission are what make this installment engrossing.
Is there no honor among thieves, Mr. Cobblepot?
The deep voice, the imposing figure, his vendetta against bad guys. Remind you of anyone?
Chucky Saw, your angel of death awaits.
The Phantasm and the Judge certainly have some similarities. Malachi Thorne and Stacy Keach definitely had comparable vocal performances, while their whodunit secret identities also draw them even closer. Good thing, like most people, I really like the Phantasm, so the Judge hitting similar beats didn't bother me. While he's not as lethal as the Phantasm, the Judge really does a number on a few well-established villains, beating them into the hospital.
Hey diddle diddle, time for a riddle.
It's about time someone threw the book at you.
They brought John Glover back as the Riddler for that one line. I should be disappointed, but I'm just thinking about how much that redesign sucks. Adding a wrinkle into the Judge's plans is Councilman J. Carroll Corcoran. While his intentions are far from pure, he spouts off some sense when talking to Batman about why he's supporting the Judge's attacks.
Who? Two-Face? Killer Croc? You think anyone cares? I'll tell you what people care about. The revolving door at Arkham that keeps sending these freaks back on the street. These days, people want results. They want closure. I figure if Gordon can have his hero, why can't I have mine?
This character would have been an interesting foil for Batman if he popped up more than once. The way the writers mentioned a few times now how Arkham wasn't holding the dangerous criminals inside may have developed even further in a subsequent season. Maybe the city would have been fed up enough to turn against Batman, with Corcoran leading the charge. There's a quick scene in this one that makes an aspect of the Never Fear episode a bit worse. Two-Face is in a bar with his gang, angry about his name being brought up during the Judge coverage. After they leave, a man is shown to be watching them. Turns out, he's Bruce Wayne in disguise. Yes, full disguise. No thin mustache or sunglasses. Apparently, they didn't leave this idea behind in BTAS. It goes without saying that this is the last TNBA appearance of many of these characters, but since Two-Face is a main focus, I should mention what I thought of this overall iteration of the villain. Richard Mall is quite definitive as both Harvey and Two-Face. He had the opportunity to give this character some dramatic weight and always turned in a solid to great effort. Wishing I could have heard Harvey's original voice a few more times across both shows is really my only small complaint. Dent was only in 2 new Batman adventures, and while that's less than expected, it sure is fitting. Spoilers ahead for the Judge's identity. Before Two-Face's thugs kill Councilman Corcoran, the Judge shows up and takes them down. However, he heard Corcoran admit to Dent that the councilman received kickbacks from a GothCorp project. This betrayal of the people leads the judge to attempt an execution of J. Carroll. Batman intervenes and tussles with the mysterious figure before finally dispatching him.
Here's your judge, Corcoran.
The double facade of Two-Face is unmasked. The judge was Dent all along. Batman hands the mask to Corcoran as the press busts in. Soon after, a newspaper reads that the councilman lost his primary after he was publicly accused of receiving kickbacks. Bruce and Alfred discuss how Harvey created a third personality, the judge, to combat his big bad Harv side. But the personalities were so separated that the judge wasn't even aware he was, in fact, Two-Face. This is evidenced by the vigilante trying to kill himself without realizing. We cut to Arkham Asylum, where in a dark cell, the trial of Harvey Dent plays out in his own mind, with the judge presiding.
How does the prisoner plead?
Guilty. Guilty. Guilty.
This is yet another strong Two-Face story. It's a good ending twist to bring in a third personality, especially how it's explained as a reaction to Big Bad Harv being in control for the majority of the time after Dent's original accident. It's not a development I saw coming the first time I watched this, and it somehow makes this guy even more tragic. That ending scene is a haunting way to go out. I always thought Two-Face should have some kind of redemption at the end of his story. While that didn't come in this continuity, this was still a sadly satisfying way to end things. Speaking of ending things, that's all, folks. Bat-May, as we know it, is over. Thank you all for watching, and thank you all for the support over the last few years. This was a long-term project that started off as a lark and blossomed into an annual tradition that I'm proud to say we completed. The goal was always to shine a spotlight on every episode of the greatest animated show ever, in my opinion, and we accomplished that goal. But it has not been easy. The hours and hours and hours of work that went into these videos are rewarding, but not something I plan on doing again after we wrap up my other month-long series, Twilight-Tober Zone. I get asked all the time about continuing Bat-May with Batman Beyond. Look, I love that show too. While the spirit is willing, the flesh is weak. I just don't think I could do this all over again by myself. But I'll tell you what, if my situation remains the same as it is now, I could do a bit of a Bat-May epilogue. How's that? Maybe next year I can cover a handful of Batman the Animated Series related movies and supplemental material. Mask of the Phantasm, Sub-Zero, Mystery of the Batwoman, and a couple others. I'll probably directly ask for your opinion, so follow me on social media, that being Twitter, Facebook, and my new Instagram page. That's right, only 10 years late on that one, and we'll talk more. Don't forget to watch Fanscription every month too. If you have enjoyed my coverage of this show, please also check out my personal YouTube channel. The last few years of work on these projects haven't left me much time to post on there, but with Bat-May finally finished, I can return to making some more unique stuff that I think you'll like. Subscribe, and I'll catch you there soon. This whole series of reviews is dedicated to the hard-working folks who brought us an impeccable animated program. To those who we've lost along the way, your work is not forgotten.